People keep saying the projects are not bankable. Yesterday, it was in the media that the federal government will start tolling all the highways all over again, perhaps sometime in 2018. Do you think, well, taxpayers believe that, well, do you think that taxpayers' money can work in which if you tax or if you toll the roads, then that is taxpayers' money working for them? Or do you think we still need to go back to the drawing board to look at the PPP arrangement all over again?
Now listen, there are two ways to fund public-private partnership transactions. PPP1 speaks about what you're saying. People will pay. Okay, you toll the roads, and as they use the road, they're going to be able to pay at various spots of the road. That's one. The other one is government paying over this period, allocating a portion of, say, in 30 years. And that is why I keep saying that PPP doesn't have to be an APC or a PDP or a UPC transaction. It's a Nigerian transaction that the government that come in must honor and respect. So even if you are APGA wins, by some magic, they will keep the contract for the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. It doesn't matter. And that is one of the challenges of government assessing this kind of private capital. They are not keeping to their word. In the international space, and at this space where international funding is looking for where to birth, you must keep your word. Even if you're dying, you keep your word. Because if you don't, the news will fly and they will never come your way again. Capital is an intelligent and a shy commodity. If you don't keep your word, if because you think you're Nigeria, you're a big elephant and nobody will challenge you, you'll be shocked how a rat will give you a challenge. So the point we're making here is that if you want to do PPP, decide which one you want to choose. And as you choose it, then that means you're going to toll. Now, if you toll, there are economic roads, the railway can be, you can get back your money through tickets in the railway. So you're not tolling nothing. Okay, so bring in the Chinese if you need to. Bring in the Europeans if you need to. Let them build you fresh tracks. The Lagos-Calabar railway shouldn't be bogged down by the vagaries of budget. These are things you could
which is an argument that I keep head scratching. A lot of people head scratch about because you don't really need to toll rail lines. All you need is do the ticketing.
That's all.
And you build modern train stations.
Absolutely.
Which you can commercialize the train stations. There's going to be billboards, advertisements, and you can have shops, isn't it?
Absolutely.
At the train stations. And commercial.
Just a quick one. When I went to the Do train station, and I must commend government, between about the Abuja-Kaduna rail line, it's working. They need to bring in more coaches. They need to advertise. They need to get people to leave the roads and come to the train. They need to bring a mall in it. It is just not the tracks.
You think the terminus, the terminus need a shopping mall, for example?
For goodness sake, you need to begin to bring the appetences that drive such a...
People to use train stations like you have overseas. So it shouldn't just be a dry middle of the desert place where you just hang in until the coaches come, like in the 16th century Midwest.
I believe also that all this is all situated on forward thinking. Strategy, I keep saying, is not what you do in the morning. Those of them that are coming in 2019 and forward, Nigerians must query them as to how bold and robust is your vision.
Very, very, very interesting. Let's come back after the break and wrap up this conversation with a few more questions to Pascal Odibo, the country director of JF & O'Brien. Pascal Odibo is the country director for JF & O'Brien in Nigeria and is the head of the organization here. And with Pascal, we've been discussing quite a lot of interesting and thought-provoking issues around infrastructure, the PPP arrangement, tax holidays or tax credit, whatever you call it. Talk about the integrity of contracts and getting to the negotiating table. Of course, the integrity of contracts and transparency is part of what the new ease of doing business that will be launched on October the 2nd by the president himself on how to get all the MDAs to respect contracts, including procurements and what have you. Pascal, it's good to see you here. We have about a few more minutes to wrap up the program. Where you've spoken to the side of the government, but what makes investors and private sector people, aside integrity of contracts, a little bit pussyfooting when it comes to a PPP arrangement that relates to tax? Okay. Because folks don't want this government or this administration or previous administration to give some tax holidays or tax credit, and then the next one come back and say, hold on, folks, I'm going to roll it all back. Everybody step forward, bring in money. You know,
it is very pivot, still on integrity, because if people respect contracts across administrations, it means that investors are going to have a lot much more confidence. That's what is called political risk. Yeah, there's a company that is a company that is owned, and it's a firm that is owned by the AU and the IFC, an international firm, called Africa Trade Insurance. They are domiciled in Kenya. They have about 8 countries, and Nigeria just signed on. Nigeria yet has not paid their treaty money. What they do, essentially, is to enhance credits. In other words, they can insure projects and transactions, trade, against political risk. Political risk is when we are not sure of your government. That's what political risk is about, or things that will just play up. There's nothing foreign or private capital is afraid of than political risk. So government must know that, because it's when you are diagnosed a challenge that you can know how to hedge it. So apart from just integrity, there must be some measure of stability. Even that can be ensured, but most importantly, when investors bring in the money, if they make money out of bringing in the money, nobody should raise an eyebrow. That's what they are coming in for. All you should bother about is that, are they producing to terms what they said they will produce? If they said they're giving you a railway, are they giving you modern railway? If they said they're building an airport, did they build the airport to standards? If they said they're building you a road, if you go and put your eye on how much they are making, you are going to see it and you're going to get irritated. Because no investor comes because it's Father Christmas. They have come to make money. You can lower their margins, but do not allow them to. If they don't make money, they will take your work. So even when you are trying as much as possible to protect the market, the environment, please make sure, find out from them, how will you make money? Because that is the reason why they are bringing the funding here. If not, they will go to South Africa, or they go to Kenya, or they go to Ghana next door. So if you see finance or private capital moving away from your environment, know that they are not getting good returns on investment, or there is a lot of capital, political risk, or there is an integrity issue. Every person, every bank, every institution that has money makes money only when it has deployed the capital. You need to know that. Because if they don't deploy the capital, they don't make any money. So you're not going to be begging them to deploy their capital. What you should be asking them, come and deploy your capital in my environment. And you give them the incentives to bring the capital. That's why I keep saying that it must be a strategic coalition of politicians and, as we are the economists, to be able to bring development to our nation and pay the price for it.
Very important point. So when we say, or when government officials say that Nigeria is an investment destination, that the return on investment in Nigeria is good and is high, what does it mean?
It means that, and they're looking at it from a perspective alone, which means that, if you put in $100, you will get about 30% of that or 40% of that. In most cases in Nigeria, it's as high as that for the businesses here. However, when foreign capital or foreign investors compare the risks to the returns, they will take a decision. They will ask themselves, should I invest and damn the risks, or should I go to a place I can get 10% but guaranteed of that return? So you see, the risk-reward conversation determines essentially where and what investor comes to your domain. So, this conversation is important because the government can't on their own finance the infrastructure deficit in Nigeria.
That's very that's very understandable. That's understandable. Thanks for unpacking the matrix.
Thank you
for us, because sometimes folks begin to answer, oh yeah, Nigeria is a good investment destination, but of course, how are we sure that we don't see big ticket transactions down here, and we don't see their actualization? So where's the risk return? Thanks for putting that in perspective for us. And we hope to see more of you in the future.
Thank you.
Pascal Odibo, who is the country director and CEO of Jeff O'Brien here in Nigeria. That's today's edition of Your Business Morning. Tomorrow is just yet another day, and then we'll be right back in 24 hours. Do have a great day.